Alright, hope you all enjoyed the video. Now what I'd like to talk to you a little bit about it is one of the probably the most common questions that I get since joining the team is, how did you become a Blue Angel? What's been your career path up to this point? And I'll tell you, it wasn't too long ago that I was, really sitting in your guys' seats. I had seen a video about the Blue Angels. It was probably, I think I was a sophomore in high school. And when I was in high school, I didn't know what I wanted to do in life. I had no idea. I'd seen a video, I'm like, yeah, there's no way I could ever do anything like that. And I'd also seen the movie Top Gun. And and I saw Top Gun. I think I was 7, 8 years old when I'd first seen parts of that movie, and I was like, okay, that's cool. I didn't know anything about naval aviation. I was like, okay, someday I want to do something like that. So going through high school, worked pretty hard in high school. Got pretty decent grades, but so when it came time to apply to colleges, I went and took a little test called the SAT. So I don't know if any of you know what that is, so I took the SAT. I was pretty pumped, and I ended up walking out, and I only scored about I think a 900 on the SAT. And apparently you get 300 or 400 points for just spelling your name right, and so I must have even spelled my name wrong. So from that, I basically thought my dream of flying jets in the military was going to be pretty much over. I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to get into colleges. I had a lot of people telling me, yeah, I got a retake, and I'm not going to be able to get into colleges. So at that point on, I really wasn't sure what I was going to do. So I kind of procrastinated, and here I am, a senior in high school. And it's May. I'm getting ready to graduate in 2 months, and I still haven't applied to any colleges. Don't know what I want to do. So I went into my counselor and said, okay, what are my options? She kind of sat down and said, hey, well, you're kind of too late. You kind of missed the boat on applying to colleges. So I was like, okay. But she said, well, let me look up one thing. You got good grades. Your SAT scores are not so good, but she said, well, what do you want to do? I said, well, I want to fly. That's really what I want to do. So she looked up in her computer, okay, schools that involve have an aviation program, and the first one on the list popped up was St. Louis University. I grew up in Southern California, never been to St. Louis in my life. It seemed like a very cool city, so I said, well, I'll apply there. And she said, well, the next good thing about St. Louis University, they don't require an SAT score. So thumbs up. I'm set with that. I applied, got into St. Louis University as basically the title of my degree is Aviation Science Professional Pilot. Never been away from home. I just packed my stuff up. Parents flew me out to St. Louis. Never seen the city or the school, and showed up day one of class there. So my major in St. Louis involved. We had aviation maintenance program, professional pilot program. Aerospace engineering, all that stuff. And so I did the professional pilot, where I got my civilian ratings all the way up multi-engine commercial pilot's licenses into flight instructing and all that. And that was my major. For me, that was like a dream come true. I was getting to do something that I love to do. I was always told, hey, you can't do much with that degree outside of going to be a pilot. And I'm like, I got that. I did something that I love to do, and I actually had a phenomenal time in college learning how to fly airplanes. And I still had that goal in the back of my mind. Hey, I want to become a fighter pilot. And that I was always kind of afraid of the military while I was in college. It seemed like such a cool job, but I was really afraid of the commitment. I'm like, hey, you sign up on the dotted line, the military has you, and that was kind of the impression I had. And I was never too confident that I don't know if I'm going to walk down to the officer selection officer and really get that started. I was kind of afraid of it. And no kidding, I wasn't until my senior year of college, again, kind of procrastinating here, but the senior year of college, I'm sitting in one of my, I think it was an aviation economics class, and we're watching TV and watch two airplanes crash in the World Trade Center. That night, I go home, just obviously devastated the whole country. I go home watching TV, and there's CNN showing footage of our young troops, 17 to 18 years old. They're getting off the C-17 in Afghanistan, getting ready to go do the dirty work, to go defend our nation. At that point, no kidding, that was a turning point for me when I was like, okay, I'm getting ready to graduate college. I've always been, military is cool, kind of wishy-washy, but I'm like, okay, this is something I got to do. These guys are going out to fight for my freedom, and I was a healthy individual, perfect time. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go in the military. So at that point on, I went took didn't know what branch to go in. First thing I was like, oh, fly, okay, Air Force. So I go down to the Air Force recruiter, officer selection officer. They're going to make me take what's called a Air Force officer qualifying test, very similar to an SAT. So we all know how well I did on the SAT. I go ahead and take the Air Force officer qualifying test and walk out of there, and I failed it. So at that point on, Air Force is like, nah, you can retake the test if you want to become an Air Force officer. And I was like, I don't know if I really want to do that work. I can't take standardized tests. So as I'm walking out of the recruiter's office there, walk down, I pass Navy. I was like, oh yeah, carrier aviation school. Marine Corps, I see a poster of a Marine standing out front of F-18. So I make a turn right into the Marine officer and said, hey, here's the deal. Getting ready to graduate college here. I want to go in the military, all that. And, I did this in the Air Force. They wouldn't take me. And the Marine Corps said, we'll take you. So I go in the Marine Corps, pass their test with flying colors. It's no more complicated than adding 4 plus 4 or anything like that. So they say good. I applied for an aviation spot in the Marine Corps, and the way the Marine Corps works, a very, very neat program, is they will guarantee a flight slot. So for that, I told them I wanted to go aviation, and I walked out basically the officer recruiting officer for Marine Corps with a flight physical that said I was physically qualified, with a piece of paper in my hand that said I'm going to Officer Candidate School and I'm an aviation contract. So I knew when I finished Officer Candidate School and another school at the base school, which I'll talk about here in a bit, I get to go down to Pensacola, Florida, and start flight school to become a naval aviator in the Marine Corps. So from that point on, go to OCS in Quantico, Virginia, which is a standard 10-week or 12-week course, either divided up into two summers, or I did the one 10-week good deal all at once there, and that's where they kind of teach you how to be a Marine, teach you our core values of honor, courage, and commitment, and you learn everything about the Marine Corps and about the military, how to wear your uniform, and how to be a Marine. And then from that point on, all Marines, whether you're aviation or you're infantry, no matter what your destination is going to be, you go to a school called the Basic School. And what it is, it's a 6-month course where we go out in the field as Marines, and you learn how to shoot every Marine weapon, every weapon in the Marine inventory. You get to learn infantry tactics, and the goal for the Marine Corps is, out of that, is every Marine, regardless of pilot or not, you become a rifle platoon commander. So at any given point, if I find myself on the ground, they can give me a platoon of Marines, and you can go carry out an attack. And we're all trained in that, and we are trained to shoot and be riflemen. So, which was an incredible experience for me, just to have the opportunity to go learn how to really be an infantryman. So, I did that, and then I got orders to Pensacola, Florida. Started flight school there. I went through primary flight training on the T-34 out of Whiting Field, and then at the very end of that primary flight training, you have about 50, 60 flight hours that you get to, they call it a dream sheet. And they give you a blank piece of paper with 3 lines on it, and for me, my choice was jets, helicopters, or C-130s was the dream sheet. So you put down your top, pick an order, the first one you want there, and then they take everybody in your class, which is about, your class size is about 8 or 9 other Marines and sailors. And they stack all your grades up against each other. And then the Marine Corps comes down and says, hey, this week we got 2 jet slots, 5 helicopter slots, and 2 C-130 slots. And they take everybody's grades and they stack them out. And you get based on your performance in flight school and your and the needs of the military. So I was fortunate enough to get my first choice of jets. From that point on, I was headed down to Kingsville, Texas. If anybody knows where Kingsville, Texas, way down by Corpus Christi, it's kind of out in the middle of nowhere, away from the general public, because we're a jet training base, teaching young guys to go fly very fast jets, so they keep us away from the public there. Next plane I got to fly with about 60 hours of flight time. I hop in a T-45C, which is a small jet trainer capable of cruising right around 400 knots, fully aerobatic. We can drop training bombs off of it and all that good stuff. So I go through the jet pipeline, and at the very end of jets, before we get our wings of gold, whether Marine or Navy, we have to go land on an aircraft carrier. And kind of how that works is over land, you train over and over, doing touch and goes over land. You do hundreds and hundreds of them with an instructor on the ground grading you. So we're by ourselves flying, doing all these touch and goes, landing on a simulated aircraft carrier. At the very end of that, which is kind of your check ride on land, you all do your final passes. You go in a room to meet, and the instructor comes to meet you, and he just basically says, hey, yep, you're good to go to boat, you're good to go to the boat, you're all set to go. What people don't know is when you go to the aircraft carrier as a student naval aviator, you go by yourself. They don't put an instructor to go land on an aircraft carrier by yourself. The instructor trained you on the ground, and then from that point on, they flew us out to Jacksonville, Florida. Our aircraft carrier is off the coast of Jacksonville, Florida. Me and my 4 other buddies all hop in our jets all by ourselves, and we go fly out about 150 miles off the coast and end up overhead. For me, it was the Roosevelt. Overhead that aircraft carrier, and you circle overhead, and you're waiting for your chance to get called down in the stack to come on land on an aircraft carrier, and you're by yourself. You're hoping all your training pays off, and you descend down in the stack, you line up on final on the aircraft carrier, and before you know it, you go from 130 knots flying to stopped in a split second, and you're aboard, a aircraft carrier. Pretty incredible feeling, and from that point on, you basically give you your wings. That's kind of your rite of passage, and you are now a naval aviator. So, for me, got my wings of gold, and then received orders down to Beaufort, South Carolina, which is just south of Charleston there. And I checked in with now my Marine brothers in the F-18 squadron. I'm pretty pumped up. Say, okay, all right, cool, get to go learn how to fly the F-18 Hornet, and I'm going to go aboard an aircraft carrier, do all that good stuff. Well, the way the Marine Corps works, half of us are aircraft carrier squadrons, half are expeditionary land-based squadrons. So I check in with my squadron, and they say, guess what? We're not going to the aircraft carrier. We just got orders to go to Al-Assad, Iraq, and spend 7 months there. So how that works is we fly all our jets over into Iraq. We're land-based, kind of out in the middle of nowhere there, and we do combat missions 7 days a week, 24 hours a day for 7 months, fighting our mission in Iraq. From that point on, leave Iraq, I go home. Talk about the movie Top Gun. I was fortunate enough I get selected to go attend Top Gun. So I go out to Fallon, Nevada, and go through a 10-week course there in Top Gun. And once I finish Top Gun, I go back to Beaufort, South Carolina, and I think, okay, well, hey, maybe we'll go back to aircraft carrier, maybe I'm going to Japan, all that. And say, oh, no, guess what? You're going to be land-based out of Kandahar, Afghanistan. So, pack up all our jets, we fly again all over the Middle East, and we land-base out of Kandahar, Afghanistan, again, flying combat missions 7 days a week, 24 hours a day for 7 months. And one of the most rewarding tours of my life was to have the opportunity to go do that. And then from that point on, get done in Afghanistan, and I applied to the Blue Angels. It was one of those goals that I seen a video when I was young. Said, hey, there's no way I'm going to ever have the opportunity to do that. And I just knew I'd kick myself later on in life if I didn't at least put in an application so I could say, hey, I at least tried to apply to the Blue Angels, but didn't make it. Well, I put in an application to the Blue Angels. There's about 50 to 55 applications that come in. In that case, last year was for 3 spots on the team. And go through interviews and meet the team, and a pretty rigorous process. But call in one day to the boss, who's #1, to find out if you get selected, and found out I was selected for this year and next year's team. So that is kind of my story of how I became a Blue Angel. Again, nothing special, not the smartest guy in the world, but really picked a career path that I knew I would enjoy doing. Didn't pick it for the money, didn't pick it because somebody else thought, said I needed to go do this. It was just something that I wanted to do. And you never know if you chase your dreams and just do what you want to do for the right reasons. And the experiences you're going to have along the way are incredible, and you never know where you find yourself. So